everybody. Welcome to the Three Podcasters Walk Into a Bar podcast. My name's Stu Charlie, President and CEO of the Sandstone Group. But did you ever have that crazy old uncle that would sit there and start the joke? Three podcasters would walk into the bar. I happen to know the other two idiots. And here we go. In fact, RT's getting a drink order here.
He's going to order a drink.
That's great. Go ahead. Okay, I got David Blackman around the corner. And then David is his own Substack author. Hey, David. He has also got the energy question. And I mean, the energy question is blowed up as Larry the Cable Guy. It blowed up as Larry the Cable Guy goes. And he's also got a contributing author for Forbes, The Telegraph, The Daily Caller. And he's also on the energy transition, which is in Dallas, Brazil, UK, and Bulgaria.
Yes.
All right. All right. And then we have the RT. RT is not only late to the party most of the time, he is the party. So RT has his own podcast, and it is The Crude Truth. He is a hoot when he's interviewing folks. So welcome, RT. And he's also an EMP operator. He's one of them big dogs over there at Pecos Operating. We would be dead meat in the United States without our EMP operators. So RT, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me as always, and thank you, gentlemen. I was a little late, obviously, and I had to get my drink here on the air today. But I will say this: I think we all need to just stop, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
What a week of news!
Oh yeah.
We have been also very blessed on all ends to be just doing so many interviews right now with so many great people. And our interview season, as y'all know, we're about to even get more busy.
Oh yes. We've got a who's who in the energy coming up.
Yes, we really do. And you two have been already interviewing the who's who in the interview, so we even just got more lined up. So hello to everybody out there, and thank you all for, as always, for listening to another episode of this.
Yeah, I'm going after Antonio Gutierrez next. I want him to explain exactly how it is that we've opened the gates of hell. It is climate change, as he said at the UN General Assembly this week. Ramping up that rhetoric again.
Oh my goodness.
Well, what about, wasn't it the UK, no, not the UK, the Ukrainian president brought up climate change, didn't he, also in his speech?
Yeah, let's see that. Yes.
Oh, okay. I love Tom Kirkman. Tom Kirkman's one of my fans. I'm going to give a shout out to Tom Kirkman. I was sitting there flagging him back and forth on LinkedIn, and I was bad-mouthing Zelensky. Okay, I was saying, hey, the little short guy needs to get a life or something like that. And Tom puts it back and says, did you know there's a death squad in the United States funded by the United States that if you say bad things about the Ukrainians, they have Ukrainians over here knocking off US citizens. And I'm like, I really like them. Hey, back to your point. This is a joke. This is why we're in a bar laughing. But David, you had this piece, and I'm drinking my root beer, folks. Okay, we had this piece about the UK, and tell us what that was about that, because that folds right into what you were talking about.
Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister of the UK, announced that he's rolling back the deadlines for things like outlawing internal combustion cars, getting rid of air conditioners and replacing them with heat pumps, on and on and on, all the crazy stuff the UK had established as goals for climate change that are completely unworkable, completely unreasonable, and incredibly expensive. He's deciding he actually wants to get reelected, and so he decided he better start rolling back those deadlines. So now, instead of trying to outlaw internal combustion cars by 2030 in the UK, they're going to do it by 2035. Puts them right in line with the geniuses, the energy geniuses in California. So that should work out well for them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So anyway, but look, we're going to start seeing that all over the world, all over the developed world, because all these countries in Europe, the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand have all adopted very similar goals on these things and timelines. related to the WEF's Agenda 2030, which is the driving force behind all of it. And none of it's workable. None of it's going to happen for a variety of reasons that we've talked about repeatedly on this podcast. And I know RT and Stu talked about them there as well. And, so you're going to see President Biden, if he gets reelected, start rolling those things back. You're going to see, what's his name up there in Canada, Justin Trudeau, start doing the same thing because he has an election coming up. And it's going to become a trend that Sunak just got out on top of it. So good for him.
Well, do you think it's because RT that it's sustainable actually means fiscally sustainable?
I would say, no, it's not at all. And I don't see how how it would work fiscally. And I want to try to hold back because I want to highlight another one of your most recent articles, but with what's going on with this 2025, here's I want to kind of throw it back at you on the question. Okay. Al Gore has made a living doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, literally, he has made a living after being a vice president. He lost in a very heated debate in 2000, and we haven't had a big landslide since 2000 either, really, considerably speaking. But he was spouting off stuff in 2002,
right?
That we should already be the polar ice cap should have already done this, should have already done that. Why is it now all of a sudden that we're getting these hard dates physically with mandates and with regulation? Or what is it? What changed to where all of a sudden now by 2025 this is going to happen?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all part of the Agenda 2030. Go ahead.
There's two things. It's because the WEF, not the WWF, but the WEF has put that date out there. And then all of a sudden, all the rest of the leaders in the other one. Did you guys see the MDS interview with Brett Baird?
Oh, yes.
That was great.
It was actually a tremendous interview.
Oh, it was. I did. And so when you take a look at 2030, 2035, it has been the global elite setting that date, RT. And so to answer you, there's no way we can make an energy transition until then. I mean, you take a look at the knuckleheads that are trying to put EV tanks out on the battlefield. We talked about this a few months ago, but they just had another article because the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy are honestly trying to get an Abrams tank with batteries in this thing. Okay, you got a 60,000 pound truck, right? 60,000 pounds, right? Or a tank. And then you're going to turn that rascal, you need 20 times the charging capacity that is currently available in the Army. How are you going to do that? You're going to bring a diesel generator to the front line and run all these guys up.
And then guess what? The moment your enemy blows that up.
Oh, yeah. And if you hit think about the scooters, right? Everybody's having their scooters blowed up as Larry the Cable Guy because there's EV batteries in the scooters, right? Do you want our guys sitting there waiting for a 22 to hit that thing and then they blow up? Try and put that out.
The other thing, you mentioned the Saudi Arabia, that Brett Baird interview that he did, and it was a decent one in the OPEC last week. Both of y'all highlighted it on your Substack, but you wrote an article for Daily Caller, I think. Forbes. And you had it on your Substacks too about the OPEC response to 2030.
Yep.
And guys, for OPEC to respond, in my opinion, is good and bad. It was good because you had a real group, and I'm gonna use that because OPEC has been around, saying, guys, this is not sustainable.
Right.
The bad part is that OPEC knows this is not sustainable, and they're the ones that are going to control the price of oil as we go on. So it's like, it was good that somebody was recognizing it, but it's also bad that they're like, just wait and see what happens.
What we probably need to tell our podcast listeners that the point you're bringing up, RT, is that the International Energy the IEA, Association, or whoever the hell they are, brought it up and said that energy transition has to happen, correct? I mean, that's what the OPEC response was.
They
Right, yes. And so they're out there and they love the WEF, the WWF. I think that the guy there is gonna join and he's got a fight with the Hulk. So he's coming up, the Hulk's coming out of retirement.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. We're going to have a big rabbit hole.
Oh, that was a joke.
I think one thing people need to understand about the WEF's Agenda 2030 is that in 2019, the United Nations signed on to that plan,
Right.
signed a memo of understanding with the WEF that the United Nations would push all these countries towards that goal. And that's the driving factor behind all of these targets and goals and crazy policies that are being set in all these developing countries.
And the 20 cities, I think you and I talked about this as well, RT, the 20 cities that have already signed on and saying we're going to be in this 2030 plan. So if you're in Houston, the smart
Agenda
cities,
40 city or.
yeah, the smart cities where they want you to live within 15-minute walking distance, no cars, no privacy, cameras in your house, and everything else. So anyway,
And kind of, I guess, piggybacking off of 2030, I want to talk about today, your article that you did with the United Auto Workers.
oh
And
yeah,
I want to talk, I want to say for you, like, you keep us in line in check on conspiracy theories. You do, that's just, right, all of us.
Conspiracy.
Yes. I know you
Oh,
do.
you like the good.
Yeah, I know, you don't like stews, that's what it boils down to. But, so I want to talk about the meat and potato of this article, because I want to go out there just a little bit. But your article basically highlighted that, in a nutshell, and of course, correct me if I'm wrong, that the UAW is trying to fight to get paid today, because if we hit that 2030 goal, the internal combustion engine sales will drop tremendously.
Yep.
And that means all those workers lose their jobs, so they're trying to earn $1 today, so that when that time comes, is that?
Yeah, I mean, so, yeah, the strike is about, if you listen to the president of the UAW talk about, he's talking about these companies, these three major US automakers have made billions and billions of dollars over the past 10 years, and they're just trying to get a piece of that, right? Well, the problem is that they've made all that money on their internal combustion cars. And the Biden administration is now telling them, well, you're gonna have to stop making those internal combustion cars going forward. And they're gonna phase them out by 2030, most of them. And so now what's gonna be left, and because of the Biden agenda, these US automakers are having to invest billions and billions of dollars in the new plant equipment and supply chains for electric vehicles. Because to comply with the regulations on auto mileage standards and emissions, fleet emissions, the EVs are just gonna have to start selling EVs that nobody wants to buy. And so Ford's gonna lose $4.5 billion this year for its EV segment, but it's gonna make 16 billion on its commercial and its gas powered passenger cars, right? That are going to be phased out. So the UAW is striking to get a piece of the legacy part of the business that's going away. That's what this strike is about.
Yes.
And what it's going to mean is that it's going to make it absolutely necessary for the big three automakers in the United States to replace all those workers with robots over the next 7 years.
And here's the thing, okay, that's where I want to go with this, is that what they're saying is it will take less manpower, more robots to make all these electric vehicles. And they're already estimating they can cut 50% of their workforce to do that, leading me to two things. And this is where the conspiracy theory comes into play. I truly think that their demands are. out there, okay? I would love to get a 35% work increase over the next, or pay increase over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And only work 32 hours a week, okay?
Yeah.
So I think those are out there. I'm beginning to wonder, because of your article, and talking about where the true money is being made,
Right.
okay, are they maybe, this is where like in cahoots going, I need you guys to start asking for this stupid stuff, because the only way we're gonna make money minus subsidies on electric vehicles is by selling the internal combustion engine products that we sell already today. And so that's where I kind of was like, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's like their demands are out there. The big three automakers, I mean, guys, if we truly lost 50% of those people in the next 5 years. And that means now we're not making as many vehicles physically, we don't have as much opportunities to produce the energy or the power from the energy, because our grid and our infrastructure is not designed that way. We will collapse in that 5 year period, just as if we got turned the light off on oil today. So I just kind of, when I read that, I enjoyed it so much, but I was like, there's probably more to this than we even know, because they're asking for things, they're trying to protect themselves, but also the fact that they're losing, Ford, for example, is using $60,000 per electric vehicle. Why would you want to mess with your cash cow, the ICE, the internal combustion engine? And the last thing I'll say on conspiracy theory is, why is the working man's pro-union president not fighting for this union right now?
Well, I give the president, please, go ahead.
They asked the president not to show up. So the other thing about this is it Jim Farley or?
Jim Farley is the president of Ford.
Okay, I have put a request into Ford to build a van, a special Ford van for Jim Farley, because I want him to do an episode, a podcast with us, when he could pull in and he could do an imitation of Chris Farley as a guy going, I'm living in a van. You know, and so Jim Farley is going to be doing that because he's going to destroy Ford. You might as well have him as a lousy consultant. Like, hi, I'm Jim. I'm a consultant. I'm living in a van down by the river.
Well, you know, you talk about that. Have you guys heard that the road trip that our Department of Energy Yellen took? Yeah, Jennifer Grant Yellen's the treasurer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer, that Granholm did.
Oh, it was who?
The
And
The EV cost, well, for our listeners.
police got called on
Police got-
yes, parking a gas powered car in front of an EV charging station so that Granholm would have a place to charge her EV.
And a lady, a pregnant lady, was trying to charge her car,
Yes.
and it was blistering heat. And NPR, okay, the NPR, hold your left hand up, okay?
My left hand. I'm
Yeah.
holding the mic.
Oh, yeah, hold your left hand up.
Okay.
Okay, now extend your arm all the way past that car. That's how left wing NPR is.
Okay.
Okay, so NPR said it was a joke.
Well, first of all, the reason I wanted to bring it up to our listeners is because it's not getting a lot of press. And what they were doing is, okay, you mentioned that that staff in a gas powered vehicle, they hadn't even, like, this just shows how not prepared they were for this trip. Not only are there not enough, there's not enough charging stations for them to go, that they had to send a gas powered vehicle ahead to scout out.
That's the
part, to scout it out, okay? Like as if we're in a whole new world. You're sending somebody out there to scout out where they're gonna have the charging station. And then the fact that they didn't have somebody smart enough to look at a map and go, give me all the charging stations in America and let's plan this properly. That shows how stupid these people are, that they can't even prepare a planned PR stunt properly.
But when they did, there were some of those that were on the map that didn't work.
That didn't work. That was part of the problem with where the guy was, the advanced team, driving the gas powered car because that's reliable. It's all recognized.
Yeah.
And that was part of the problem. He got there and of course whatever online app you use to figure out where the chargers are, said there's 8 chargers or something like that. He gets there, there's only 4 of them that are working, which is very classic situation.
Right.
For these chargers, they break down a lot. And so his deal, he's panicking. Granholm's 30 minutes behind him in our EV. And along with this caravan of EVs. And he's like, my God, we're gonna be here all day if we have to wait, you know, so he just parks his whatever gas powered car he's driving in front of that thing and just tells the people with the EVs who are already in line, waiting to charge their EVs. Sorry, the Secretary of Energy is coming. You'll just have to eat cake. Okay? Marie Antoinette is on her way.
These, you know. Did you? And you know what, I hope he was next to laugh. I know, I hope they were, I hope the scout guy was in this large 3/4 ton, 1 ton big truck just burning all the fuel.
He was, because I saw that and he had generators in the back, so if there was one broken down.
You get real.
Yeah.
You're trying to make fun of me. I'm about to say.
It surprised me.
It wouldn't, no.
No, it would not surprise me at all. I tell you.
Did you hear when Arnold Schwarzenegger, a long time ago, he had a Humvee made with hydrogen. And so he went up the California coast, but he had 6 cars behind him hauling hydrogen because there was nothing there. But he got out the end of it and goes, I got me some hydrogen Humvee now. Anyway.
Yeah, it just shows where we are. It's like, you know, we have a group that are making policy that have never lived. And that is one thing that
Never lived in the real world.
Yeah, that's never lived in the world. They don't know what it is. I mean, you look at, politicians, you look at the academia world. There's a lot of places that these people that are teaching us have never done any real world experience, but yet they can read and they can write real well. But yet they can't sit there and spout off, you know, that's why I enjoy people like
Biden
that.
can't read.
Well, no, I mean, that's why I enjoy people like Dr. Ed Ireland or.
Oh, yes.
Seeing that, because those guys lived it and breathed it for years and still do that. And there's a lot of other great people out there also that do that. And it's like, we need those types of individuals, not necessarily those two running the country, but we need more people that actually can live and breathe and understand. It's like, you know, President Biden, good for him that he's made a career out of being a politician. But when he's done that, he has no idea what the real world's doing.
Do you need another one?
The very worst possible class of people making these decisions.
Yes.
The worst possible class, because not only do they not know anything about it, they literally don't know anything about politicians. They also always find a way to exempt themselves from the negative impacts of the policies that they implement, right? So they're not even going to be impacted by this stuff. And they don't go to the grocery store. They literally have no idea how much groceries cost now. The fact that you can't find anything in your local, find anyone out there watching this podcast. Compare the prices at your grocery store and find me a single item that you buy regularly at the grocery store that has not at least doubled in price since Joe Biden was sworn into office. I guarantee you, they've all at least. And, you know, and so but they're not impacted. Joe Biden never go to the grocery store. Jennifer Granholm doesn't go to the grocery store. They don't have any understanding of any of this. All they're doing is trying to check off the boxes to get to Agenda 2030 and be able to go to the UN this week and brag to all the dictators from Africa and Asia how wonderful we're doing in the United States.
The one that got me yesterday was when the Fed talked and he was standing up there. Oh my gosh, he's standing up there, guys, and he said the lower income Americans, they even use Americans are doing just fine, even though they're putting more and more debt on the credit card. 26% is okay. What a chowderhead. I mean, he actually said that yesterday. Not that he's a chowderhead. He actually said 26% interest is okay. They have no clue.
I talked to somebody earlier today and they were like, like, yeah, no, we can get you a note and, let you borrow money for 4 or 5%. And I was like, no, I don't want to borrow any money. And they're like, well, you don't want to borrow at 4%. I'm like, oh no, I get where prices are and where the interest rates are, but I'm not going to borrow. So it's like, I don't want to. And the fact that that's a good number right now is terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible, especially considering where we were just 3 years ago. And I want to highlight that you had on Rick Perry just here about 3 weeks ago on the energy question. And as much as I've got to say this, that, okay, we have a Granholm who was in Wisconsin, right? She was in Wisconsin. She has no idea about energy. Michigan. She was governor of Michigan. Okay, at least when President Trump hired Rick Perry to be the Department of Energy,
Right.
at least he came from a state that has energy the way it is. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and say I think Rick Perry did a great job for the state. I think when he did his 3 points, that's what shot him for his bid to at least make a run for president. I'm not going to say what he won, but make a deeper run than what he did. But at least it was somebody that knew energy and knew the right people.
Right.
Rex Tillerson, good, better, and different. At least he knew the world of people to be Secretary of State for what he was.
Right.
And so it just blows my mind that we have literally a president that has hired all the wrong people for a job. I mean, if this was a real business, this administration would have gone out of business already. They would have survived the 2 years.
They're about to take us out anyway, going out of business. What do you guys see coming around the corner? We saw that the chairman on the interest rates, he didn't raise it this time, but he left it that he may have 1 or 2. How do you think we can stop inflation?
I don't have any. I'm not. I don't have any idea. I don't think the Fed does either, and I think that's the problem.
That was my point.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say, and it's me being an oil and gas guy, we got to drill and lower interest rates.
Yep. Well, I mean, it would certainly help if energy was cheaper. Right?
Yes.
I mean, if you could ramp up production again in the United States and make a real difference in the global market, put another couple million barrels a day on the market over the next year. That could make a real difference because everything plays off of energy. Those grocery prices, a big driver of the increased cost has been the cost of energy, and not just oil, but all forms of energy. And so, yeah, I mean, to the extent you can reduce energy costs, everything's going to cost us.
Yep.
Here's my question for y'all coming around the corner. As we record this episode today, we're still above $90 oil. Do we hit $100 in the next 4 weeks? And if we do, how long do we stay at it?
You first.
Oh, I think we're going to hit 100 before the end of the year and stay there for a while, but the next 4 weeks, I'm not sure.
Good answer. I said what he said, and I think we're in for a longer run at 100 because of seeing the NDS interview. They want it higher, and then you have the new relationships through BRICS. You have all of that. You have the $6 billion that went to Iran. It's going to open up some development money for their fields, but it's going to take a lot of money coming in order to do that. I can't believe they gave it $6 billion. We got about 2 more minutes, guys. What's your last word?
My last word. You go first.
Well, my last word is disappointment. Is not excited about what's going on. I'm worried. No, I just want to say thank you to you two as always. Just being a younger guy and having an opportunity.
Now
to
you're
work
rubbing
with
it
you,
in.
being able to work with you two is just great. David, your analysis that you're able to do and providing that you share and that, you've now gone, you used to, I'm just glad to see that you picked back up with even more people that are more, what do you call it? I mean, you got Forbes, the Daily Caller.
Yeah, I have a lot of
You've
platforms.
got a lot more platforms and you used to back in the day, but you really picked that up again.
Right.
And Stu, you and the Samsung group with all the financial, data that y'all look at and run through. I mean, what a combo, what a combo you two are, and then I just get to get here. So thank you all very much. Be sure to check out another episode of the Career Trend here down the road. There you go.
Yes, and stay positive, people. Things are going to get better before they get worse.
And what he said. And with that, guys, subscribe, like, smash that button, as Michael Tanner would say. But even though he's not a 16-year-old kid, But anyway, thank you all very much. And this will be out on Spotify. It'll be out everywhere you can, but subscribe, like, and tell your friends, tell your dogs. Thank you very much.